This is The Pitchfork, your home for Evanston athletics. Brought to you by The Bullock Agency in Lyman. When benefits matter, The Bullock Agency. Let's dive into Evanston athletics, on the court, in the pool, or out on the field. And now, here's your host, voice of The Pitchfork, Elon Olive.
And we welcome you to another edition of The Pitchfork, brought to you by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. I'm Elon Off. That's Anthony Colasuno. And Anthony, it's been a fun week. We had a busy week in Cheyenne, and it's going to be a whole lot more fun. But first, we do have some breaking news coming from Uinta County School District #1 Activities Director Bubba O'Neill. Tonight's basketball game scheduled against the Rock Springs Tigers, in Rock Springs, have been rescheduled to February 3rd. That means, man, hiccups are on me today. That means that it will be a back-to-back traditional road trip. Evanston plays in Kelly Walsh in Casper on Friday the 2nd. Coming back home, we're going to make a stop in Rock Springs on the 3rd. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But breaking news, those games have been postponed to Saturday the 3rd of February. So no basketball tonight. It's not game day. I had it all pumped up, Anthony. I was gonna be like, it's game day.
It's game day.
But nope, unfortunately, it is not game day this week.
Sad day.
But we got a big game coming up against Lyman, and we'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's go ahead and talk about Evanston boys swimming. Today's their senior day, as they will be at Davis Middle School this afternoon in a invite, and I wish we could put together a broadcast in time to do it, but unfortunately, because it is a last-minute situation, we can't. But, man, congratulations to those guys. We will be catching up with them at the Lyman Duels later on this month, I believe.
Yes.
You and I are going to be at Lyman swimming. We'll be there. I cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's go ahead and recap what happened over the weekend with Evanston Red Devil basketball. So they went to the James Johnson Winter Classic. Of course, James Johnson played for the Miami Heat. He's still in the NBA now.
He played for the Chicago Bulls at one point.
You would know that, wouldn't you? Anyways, it was a lot of fun, and the girls played 3 games. The boys played 4. Let's first talk about the girls. They played Cheyenne South, lost a nail biter. 42-35 was the final score there. I tell you what, this girls team is fighting, and they're going to get some good stuff's going to happen for them. You just have a feeling. Against Cheyenne Central, they played, and that was a loss, 49-29, and then against Sheridan, 61-19. But Sheridan, a top 5 team in the state right now.
Absolutely, and that's a tough tournament schedule as well. And these girls are hungry to get their first win of the year, and it's going to happen. Eventually, it will happen this year. Very young squad for Coach Barker. They're still learning. They're still developing. A lot of people might be like, this is not a good year. Mm-hmm. It's a growing pains.
It is.
Next year, they're going to be way better than what they are right now.
That's a very good way to put it, growing pains. Because you saw Evanston play.
Yes.
They put out a lot of sophomores out there. So we got started a little bit late because of technical difficulties. I'm having difficulty saying that word, apparently. But we got started a little bit late because of technical difficulties. So we are having a little bit shorter show, as the girls will play against Lyman, their only game this week. And I tell you what, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I mean, they played 3 games over the weekend. They were going to play tonight in Rock Springs. Now you have a little bit more time to be in the gym, a little bit more time to kind of work on some things.
Just to rest up as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they will play at Lyman. We'll talk more about that later on in the show, considering we got the voice of the Valley, Anthony Colasuno, here. For the boys, they had not 1, not 3, but 4 games. They played 1 and went 2-2. They beat Cheyenne South 60-36 on Thursday night. On Friday afternoon, they were down by 10 to Wheatland, or 7 or 10 to Wheatland at the half. Came back and won that game in double overtime. Jay Hill hits a 3-ball with 17 seconds left. Evanston's defense does the rest. And then against Cheyenne East, the reigning state champions, it's a Friday night game. It's the place is loud. I tell you what, that band, I'm sitting next to the band. I had to text our producer, Colton. It is so loud, I literally can't hear myself. So I have no idea what that broadcast sounded like. And Evanston, they were down by 20 at one point. They lose that one 52-42.
Not bad.
And that's a team that usually scores 65 points a game.
Yes.
So not bad. You go into the state champion's house. I think some exhaustion might have gotten the better of the Red Devils in the next game against Sheridan. They lose that one 64-37. But man, 2-2 weekend. They end with one game left in the preseason, the Lyman game. They're 6-4, so they're going to, at worst, have a 6-5 record, a winning record in the preseason.
And that's, any high school team basketball-wise that has a above 500 going into conference play, that's a huge positive because, you have tournaments all through the non-conference stretch or the preseason stretch, depending on how you say preseason or non-conference. But a very tough stretch for Evanston. Face a lot of good teams as well, and it's going to prep them for the conference play stretch. And the game Friday versus Lyman is just that as well. It's another tough road game.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to get back on track. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about that big Lyman game. We got Anthony Colasuno, Voice of the Valley, here with us. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back on the Pitchfork, brought to you by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, for when benefits matter.
Hey there, I'm Jake Major, your local Medicare and insurance benefits advisor for the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. With over 25 years of experience protecting families in rural America, we understand the importance of having affordable insurance coverage. Whether you're searching for extra coverage or looking to understand and switch your Medicare options, I can help you find a range of top-rated insurance companies and tailor-made packages based on your needs. Call me, Jake Major, today at 307-209-4685, and let's discuss your insurance options. We're the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, when benefits matter.
Out here, we've always worked remote. Out here, stress usually refers to the pull on a rope. Where a stroll in the city is also a stroll in the great outdoors. Where work is a way of life, and life is good. Out here, the backyards are big, and the deals, they're even bigger. This is southwestern Wyoming, and it's where you can get the biggest deals on a vehicle you want with plenty of hometown hospitality. Heritage Auto, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
Here at our clean energy facility in Evanston, we take great pride in fabricating and manufacturing equipment to make the carbon-free transportation mission possible. The diversity of the operation leads to a need for a variety of skill sets at the facility here in Evanston. We perform TIG welding, MIG welding, small pipe and tube bending, laser cutting, control panel fabrication, assembly of pressure-containing equipment, and valve repairs. Natural gas-fueled vehicles make business sense. Clean Energy, 1600 Union Drive, Evanston.
And we welcome you back to the Pitchfork, brought to you by the Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, for when benefits matter. And I also have to give a big thank you to our broadcast studio sponsor, of course. That is Les Schwab Plains Tires. And a big thank you to First Bank of Wyoming, who presents the games. Without them, we could not put on these shows, put on these games, these broadcasts. It is a great blessing to have such great sponsors.
Yes, absolutely. We love all you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us.
And we definitely cannot do it without the fans either, and without the dedicated people that love these teams as much as we do. And it's an honor to be able to bring this coverage to you. All right. It's the one. And then there was one. I guess.
Then there was one.
We originally had 2 games scheduled. Mother Nature decided, I want to see Evanston and Rock Springs play on February 3rd. So then there was one. It's Bridger Valley Part 2. Evanston and Mountain View split, with the girls losing to Mountain View, but the boys with a pretty impactful win against the Buffaloes. Now we do the same thing, except we're going to Lyman on Friday. Pre-game starts at 5:30 p.m. live on mylocalradio.com and on the radio at KNYN, and of course on the My Local Radio Sports Network. But Anthony Colasuno, we got you here. You're the voice of the Valley. You know Lyman probably better than anybody. Tell us a little bit about the Eagles.
So the Eagles, I'll start on the girls' side here. Very good on the run. They love to try to get those fast break buckets, and they love to try to battle in the paint and draw fouls. They're a really good free throw shooting team overall this year so far, and they are good on the defensive side as well. Every once in a while, Jason Hansen will put a sneaky full court press into the game plan and it causes some disruptions for the opposing side.
So when you look at that, what kind of similarities are there between Mountain View and Lyman, considering we've already seen Mountain View this year?
I would say similarities are definitely with the full court pressure that will be installed. And also how Mountain View has a really good bigs. Lyman has a really good guard group, headlined by Paige Rose, Ashton Wells, Owen Hansen. Really good group, and Mountain View likes scoring the post more. Lyman, they like letting the 3-ball fly.
So size-wise, it almost sounds like the Eagles match up better with the Red Devils than the Buffaloes did, considering they've got, you've got Kovalo, who's a big, you've got Hickey, who's got some length to her as well. And when you look at this Red Devil team, it's a team full of guards right now, with the exception, I think we're seeing Annalie West kind of emerge a little bit as a post option. Of course, Cassie Barker, and of course, Kiernan Simmons. So you look at that, and it's one of those deals where you kind of look at the matchups, and maybe physically this Lyman team matches up better with Evanston.
Yes, it's going to be a really good matchup on the girls' side. Both these squads line up really well with each other, so it's going to be I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people are going to expect just based on paper and record-wise, but it's going to be a really good contest. It's going to be really competitive.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the boys' game as we're running out of time, but Evanston boys took care of Mountain View. They are on a roll. They're on a roll this postseason. Our preseason. You look at you go into the reigning state champion's house and you keep that to being a 10-point game when you spotted them around 12 points in that first quarter, or in the first half, really. Tell us a little bit about the boy Eagles here.
So the boys, aside for the Eagles, they're getting healthy right now at the perfect time. Down at the Pinedale Winter Classic, they got Devin Sherback, who is a huge guard for them. It was a season debut versus Rollins, actually. Finished with 10 points, which is really stellar, especially for a debut. They have a young rotation as well. Lost a lot of seniors last year, but these young guys are buying into what Barry Hill is selling, the head coach for the Lyman Eagles. Also, they have size compared to Mountain View, who wasn't the biggest team height-wise. Caleb Smith down low, Carter Bradshaw down low. Basically, everyone on the Eagles can play almost every single position on the floor.
So when you talk about what Lyman brings to the table, we mentioned how the Eagles match up with the Lady Devils better. With the size Evanston have, it sounds like Lyman might be a little bit better of a matchup for Evanston than Mountain View was.
Yeah, absolutely. And name to watch out for Evanston, Caleb Smith down low, 6'4". We saw him at the dunk contest.
Yep.
Huge guy, huge wingspan, plays tight end for the Lyman Eagles. So knows how to grab the ball and rebound very well. And also Carter Bradshaw, a very aggressive guard that likes to drive in the paint a lot.
Well, thank you so much for that, Anthony. We are excited for this game. It's Evanston at Lyman on mylocalradio.com, the My Local Radio Sports Network, and on the radio at KNYN 99.1 FM. Pre-game presented by Kazine's Ace and Furniture at 5:30. And, of course, girls' scheduled tip is 6 o'clock. Boys' scheduled tip is 7:30. Have a great Friday night with us and tune in. And that is going to do it for this week's edition of The Pitchfork, brought to you by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. A big thank you to our producer, Mr. Aaron Poling. I'm Elon Off. That's Anthony Colasuno, and we'll see you next time the ball flies, which will be right here on mylocalradio.com, KNYN, and the My Local Radio Sports Network. Evanston at Lyman Basketball. Pre-game Friday at 5:30, presented by Kazine's Ace and Furniture. Girls tip off at 6 and boys scheduled at 7:30. Thank you guys so much. Take care and have a great week. We'll see you Friday night.
I live my life like there's no tomorrow, and all I've got.
Thank you so much for tuning into The Pitchfork. A big shout out and thank you to our guests, and to Jake Major and the Bullock Agency for sponsoring The Pitchfork. The Bullock Agency, when benefits matter. And we'll talk to you next week on another edition of The Pitchfork.
Run